Welcome into the latest edition of our Cubs Recap Podcast, a presentation of our Recap YouTube channel and available audio only everywhere you get your favorite podcasts. That's Gordon Wittenmeyer. I'm David Kaplan. All right, Gordon, I have a question for you to start this.
I got a lot of questions
right
for you. Anybody watching this on the video probably has the same questions.
Hey.
Hey, why don't you cover up those olive oil pipes, man?
Hey, when you got muscles, you go for it.
Good Lord.
Anyway, if you had to rank Craig Counsell among all managers, where does he rank?
I'll make it easier for you. Let's rank him in a 5-team division. He's third in a 5-team division.
I don't know if I'd agree with that.
Terry Francona, who's already on the doorstep of the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
You got Murphy that replaced the man.
That doesn't mean he's better.
He's won the last 2 Manager of the Year awards.
Yeah, Don Zimmer won a Manager of the Year, too.
And then you got the guy that came in because Rossi got bounced for no good reason after winning 83 games, and he came in with the same team, and he won 83 friggin' games.
And he won 92 and a playoff series last year.
Yeah, when they added what they should have added the year before. So he hasn't shown me that he's any better than either one of those 2 guys in 2 years of doing this with the Cubs. And until he shows that he's got impact as a manager, then he's at least third.
Okay. So where does he rank?
And we don't know where Pittsburgh's manager ranks because he hasn't had any experience yet.
How many guys are?
But I'll put him ahead of Ollie Marmol.
Oh wow!
Does that help?
How many guys? Give me the top 6 managers in Major League Baseball. Francona's in there for sure.
Yeah,
I have number 1. I have Dave Roberts. I think he's outstanding.
I think Dave Roberts is right up there. He's top 2 or 3.
Bochy's retired.
Yeah, Bochy's retired. Let's see.
You gotta consider Alex Cora, who's a really good
Alex
manager.
Cora for sure. He's top 5.
Really good manager.
Let me see.
I mean, is he top 4?
Let me just. I don't want to leave anybody out, so let me look here. Okay, so Cora's in the. You said top 6. Cora's in the top 6.
Yeah.
Stephen Vogt in Cleveland in 2 years has earned.
What has he won?
The last 2 Manager of the Year awards in the American League.
Okay, so what? It's a bunch of writers. Sorry.
He actually manages a team that I think their average salary is like $3 an hour. So that's a little bit different than what your boy Counsell's managing. So let's see.
God. Craig, I got your back here, buddy.
Cora, Vogt.
I'm not putting Stephen Vogt ahead of Craig Counsell.
Yes,
Sorry.
Yes, I am. Sorry about that. Possibly Schumacher, but I'll put him aside.
Schumacher.
Francona
what
for
did
sure.
You drink before
Roberts
you came
for
in here?
Sure. Murphy for sure. That's 5. That's 5 ahead of him right now. And then
hold on. Give me the 5 again. Dave Roberts.
Here's my top 5 in no particular order. Cora, Vogt. Where I lost track on this list here. Francona. Yeah. Roberts and Murphy. Those are my top 5 right now.
Stephen Vogt's not ahead of Craig Counsell.
Why not?
Sorry.
Why not? He's done more. He's had more impact. Period. Now, if you want to get into the next group, you can throw him into the next group. Counsell, along with Hinch. Espada's done a pretty good job so far. I mean, Dan Wilson got his team pretty far. I mean, there's some issues with Dan Wilson. He doesn't have a lot of experience. I think Kevin Cash has done a good job. Schumacher's in that group.
Schumacher.
I think Schneider has earned a spot in that next tier.
Who?
The guy that took Toronto within 1 pitch of winning the World Series last year.
Disrespect, Craig. I got you, man. I'm here with you.
I could go either way on Torey Lovello. I mean, but I think that I think there's a clear top 4 or 5, and he ain't in it. And then there's another 5 to 10, and he's in that group.
Okay, I think he is clearly in the top 5.
Well, you're a fanboy.
I'm not a fanboy. Yeah. I've been the one guy that's been.
Look, you asked me, all right?
Been honest, holding him accountable. I don't like certain things that he does.
Now.
He won 92 games last year, won a playoff series. He is 882 and 774 in his career. This dude has gotten, let's see, I'm looking to see where he won 92, 86, 95. We got to skip the 2020 season. 89, 96, 86.
He had a
All the guy
Cy Young
does is
Award winner,
win.
Corbin Burns. He had a $200 million player in Yelich. He had Josh Hader, who was the greatest reliever in the game, who was a hybrid guy. I mean, he had some high-end talent. Even in small market Milwaukee, didn't get the job done in the playoffs there. And then he goes to the Cubs, which is supposed to be the team that's got the money, it's got the veterans, and he's going to make the difference that Rossi didn't make. And he made exactly 0 games of difference with the same team until they significantly upgraded the roster. So I don't know what you want me to tell you. What are you basing this on?
He was named Sporting News NL Manager of the Year twice.
Oh, sports writers.
He's been the runner-up 18, 19, 21, and 23. 4 times.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Stephen Vogt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they give you a check for writing baseball? Stephen Vogt?
Yeah, man. You need to go to more games, buddy. You need to actually watch some of these
I
games.
watch more games than you do.
You watch one team.
My God. All right, we'll move on from Gordon embarrassing himself there with his list,
Good
not having
Lord.
Craig in the top 5.
Speaking of embarrassing, will you please put on some sleeves?
No. No. I enjoy going sleeveless.
Good God.
Enjoy it. And I'm fired up because
It's like
Katie Langen had me dunking my head in a bowl of ice water, and I am as awake as I've been at this time of the day. I get up at 3:56 to go entertain the masses while the rest of you are all sleeping.
I love that you're bragging about how you got tricked into dunking your head into a bowl of water.
Anyway, it's called a ice bath for your face. It's really good.
Okay, that's not what I call it, but go ahead.
Anyway, let's talk about the state of the Chicago Cubs right now. I watched your guy, the guy you said there's no bad 1-year deals. Shota Imanaga went out and got his head kicked in by the White Sox the other day. Home run, bam, home run, bam, home run, bam. That dude, it doesn't look any different whatsoever, and I don't want to watch him pitch.
We'll see what it looks like during the season. You can't pin the expectations of a season on spring training, never mind one game in spring training. I mean, let's see how this rest of the spring develops, what he's looking like coming out, and then what he does during the season. It's not a bad contract. It's 1 year, and he provides the depth. Listen, they've got enough depth that if they're healthy, you don't need him to start. But he can provide that kind of depth. You can bump him down within that top 6 as far down as you want to go, depending on who's performing and who's healthy. So I think that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong here. I don't think anything has changed since they signed him. I will ask you something, though. Mm-hmm. They've got as many guys projected for the opening day roster. I think it's 8 that are now off to the WBC.
In the WBC.
6 different countries. It's cool. Like I'm not going to ask you whether you think this is a cool event or anything like that, although you can chime in on that if you want. But what I wonder is, I don't think maybe the Phillies have more, but certainly these are high-profile guys in many cases for the Cubs. PCA is one of them, Bregman's one of them, Matt Boyd and Tyone, 2 starting pitchers. Do you have any concern?
Shota's in it. Isn't he?
I don't think Shota's in it.
Oh, is he not pitching for the Japanese team? No.
But say he's playing for Japan. He didn't last time because of an injury. So
couldn't make the Japanese pitching roster, huh? But we'll give him $22 million. What the hell?
I believe it has something to do with last year's injury, but never mind. And we can move on from here. Like with those 8 guys going to the WBC, one of them's your closer too. Mm-hmm.
Danny Palencia?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So are you at all concerned about putting that many guys in a high-intensity tournament in March, just ahead of a season with this high of expectations for your team during the regular season?
I'm not a huge fan of these out of season competitions, especially for pitchers.
Yeah.
I'm not, because if I'm paying you millions of dollars to pitch for me and you get hurt, the WBC, it's just not that big a deal to me.
Look what happened
I'll
last
watch
time.
because I love baseball.
There were two very high-profile players. Edwin Diaz, fluke injury, celebration post-game. And
blew his ACL.
Blew his knee and missed the season. Jose Altuve suffered an arm injury, elbow injury, and he missed a good chunk of the first half of the season for Houston. And those are the kind of things, like, especially for, I mean, both of them were really fluke injuries. But man, you talk to some people in the game, and it's kind of a mixed bag on what you get. Some people think that there are players that it can help and prepare them better for what's coming to start the season. And then there's some anecdotal evidence of that. Mike Trout, his last All-Star season was 2023. He got off to a great start after playing in the WBC at 31 years old. Other guys, not so much. Javi Baez got off to a horrible start after 2017 when he was in the WBC. So it's a mixed bag, but with me, it's like the more guys you have in it, especially if they're important players for your plans, it's like the more times you're flipping the coin on that.
Do you think, looking at the Chicago National League Ball Club, that they are, I don't care what the spring training results are, that they're an elite team? Because I do.
I think that's fair. I would have hesitated to say that last year, even after picking up Kyle Tucker, just because I thought the starting rotation was good, not deep enough, and I didn't know where that bullpen was going to go. The fact that they've got Bregman in as basically a swap for Tucker, they brought Cabrera in and kept Shota, which lengthens that rotation. I think you can stack up that rotation if it's healthy with a lot of teams. And I think they've improved their bullpen significantly. I also think that they're certainly an elite defending team. So when you put all that together, they're going to be one of the best on paper. Let's play conservative. One of the best 3 teams in the National League on paper. And if you're one of the best 3 teams in the National League, that means you're in there with the Dodgers.
Yes.
And if you can come out of the National League, you might be a favorite to win the World Series. So
who's the number?
I would say that. Yeah.
2 are the 3 teams: Dodgers, Cubs, who?
Maybe
Phillies or
the
Mets?
Phillies. I think the Phillies, because even though they lost Ranger Suarez, I really like their pitching. They had the best, according to the metrics, Fangraphs, whatever, they had the best starting rotation in the game last year. And by the way, you know who was second? It wasn't the Cubs, I'll tell you that. It was in the Cubs division. It was the Cincinnati Reds, who are better now. Their rotation looks better, and their lineup looks a little better. They might actually be the
Get to the wall. Get to the wall. That'll drive in a pair.
Oh my God.
PCA, turn and burn with a double.
I don't care about spring training results.
Are you done?
That was PCA, just ripped one to the right field wall.
You know, you're like a squirrel. Should we turn off the TV while we're doing this?
No, leave it on.
A nut.
I just look at the Chicago Cubs, and we just happen to see PCA right there rip a double to score 2 runs, 13-1, Team USA. I look at that team, and I think most people would take their first baseman. Most people would take their second baseman. Not all would take their shortstop, especially at the dollar figure he's at. Great defender, great leader, little pop in the bat. I think he hit 24 home runs last year. Not a great player, though. Most everyone would take their third baseman. Everyone would take their center fielder. Some would take their left fielder, 3-time Gold Glove winner. Some would take the bat as their DH of Seiya Suzuki.
Gold Glove left fielder, but according to the way they do it now, okay, whatever. Go ahead.
And then most, in fact, all would take their number one starter, Cade Horton. Beyond that, I still have some questions about I know they have bodies, but the quality of their top three in their rotation. Matt Boyd, maybe. Jamison Tyone, he's a journeyman. That's what he is.
Well, he's also a veteran that's played in some big markets on a big stage, playoff games. I like going to the playoffs with a guy that's got that kind of pedigree, and it is coming off.
I don't dislike him.
He doesn't have to be your one or two. The fact that and remember, we haven't even mentioned his name, but Justin Steele. If he comes back,
that was my next question. He just got cleared by his doctors.
Yeah,
full go. I am not bringing that dude north and having him throw pitches in anger until I know that the weather has turned. I'm not having him pitch in 36-degree weather with 24-degree wind chills.
Hey, I'll take it a step further.
Silly.
The Dodgers have just shown you a blueprint. If you have any depth at all in your rotation, and by depth, I just mean legitimate winning type veteran starters.
Guys who could start a game that you could win.
Beyond, say, 6 or 7 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you've got any dings or bruises, or you're worried about how deep they
let him heal up.
Slow play him. Slow play him in spring training. Slow play him into the season. Because if you plan to play in October, deep into October,
you're going to need him.
Then really your season maybe starts in May, as far as they're concerned.
Okay.
If you can get away with it. Now, the Dodgers can, because they have like 10 or 11 of these guys. And they did it last year. Blake Snell started game 1 of the playoffs and was a huge part of their run all the way through. I don't think he threw a pitch till close to midseason, maybe after midseason. And they had a handful of other guys that they did that same thing.
And then they were able to use Yamamoto in leverage situations at the end.
And
Roki Sasaki into the bullpen.
And so this is like, they keep saying, well, May or June. No, just make it June. Just make it June. And then, and we haven't talked Edward Cabrera, if he's healthy and locating,
is a massive addition.
That's a top 2 guy. That's a top 2 playoff rotation guy. And so I think that if they're healthy, they're going to be competitive against anybody. That doesn't mean they're going to win. That doesn't mean they're not going to get swept in the playoffs by any of 2 or 3 teams, because of the way those teams can match up with pitching. Obviously the Dodgers, but you got to like their chances of winning playoff series this year more than any year since they actually were doing it a decade ago.
So that's my question for everybody out there. Lay your comments down here on our YouTube page. Do you like the WBC? I'm not asking if you like baseball, because I'll watch, because I love baseball. Do you like the World Baseball Classic, in that there are 8 Chicago Cubs players on the various teams for the different countries? It's okay. I would rather my guys be in camp and getting ready for the season for me. Same.
Especially if I got a team that I think, well, we still got we're a year or 2 away. Go ahead. Go ahead. And if I've got guys that are on the doorstep of the big leagues, some decent prospects, maybe not my top pitcher or anything like that, but some guys that I think might benefit from that high level of competition, go out there and play around some of the best players in the world and gain that experience and bring it back to my organization. And maybe it'll benefit you when we debut you this year. That kind of thing. Sure. But when I expect to win multiple playoff series, I want my guys.
I want them training with my guys and all of it. Last thing, as we get towards the season, I've seen some discussion that of the new collective bargaining agreement, one of the things some people want is to start the season later and not play games in March. I don't know how you're going to do that, because you're either going to play in cold weather in March or cold weather in November.
No chance. I mean, you can't do it unless you shorten the season. The only way you can do it is if you shorten the season.
Would you, as a fan, like the season shortened?
Yes, as a fan. They don't like it as owners, but as a fan, I absolutely would love it. Go back to 154. At least there's continuity with the history of the game.
Well, then you could start the season 2 weeks later.
Yeah. And you could keep the same cadence of off days during the season. Now, if you wanted to, you could start it a week later, less than 2 weeks later, and bring the back end of Game 7 of the World Series back into October.
Yeah, that's where it needs to be.
And so, I would do something like that. Start at least a week later, so you're never starting in March, and end the World Series in October, and you could keep the same off days.
When do you head back to AZ?
In about 5 days. Yeah.
5 days.
And I'll finish out the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks sprint, and we'll see what your boys are looking like about then.
That's right. And by the way, PCA just made a really nice running catch, just so everybody knows. PCA, baby.
Are you gonna go? Are you gonna go out there with the Team USA and carry his bags for him?
Maybe. Whatever it takes. Keep him healthy and ready to go. And then
Let me massage that
it's
knee
actually
for you,
a commercial
PCA.
for the guy that I want in the offseason. Free agent pitcher, Tarek Skubal.
Oh, good Lord.
Let's go, Tom.
Good luck with that.
Sell some TD Ameritrade. Let's get it done. Gordon, you're the best.
Back at you again.
All right. Next time we'll have Gordon in a cutoff hoodie too. Thank you for listening to the latest edition of our Cubs Recap Podcast, a presentation of our Recap YouTube channel, available audio only everywhere you get your favorite podcast. For Gordon, I'm Cap. Take that.